If you're dealing with a collection company, at some point, they're going to send you a settlement offer. And it's extremely important that you do not take that first offer that they send over to you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Johnson. I operate a credit repair company here in Montreal, Quebec. And we actually have clients all across Canada in every province and every territory. So just to jump right into the topic, when you're dealing with a collection company, and let's say you start that disputing process, or you may even ask them for proof of debt, a big topic that I talk about in a lot of my other videos. What typically happens is that collection company is going to try to pressure you. So they may send you a letter, they may send you an email, or they may even give you a call and say, hey, Tom, you have 24 hours to take this settlement offer. And what we're going to offer you is 60% off of your debt. And so for the average person, this is a good deal in their minds, at least. It's not a good deal in actuality, but it's a good deal in their minds. And a lot of people jump on this deal right away. A lot of people jump on this deal. And when we're working with our clients that we work with, we usually get the clients that have already taken that settlement deal. And what people don't realize is that when you take that settlement deal, you're losing a lot of leverage. The leverage is the debt. And you have to ask yourself a very important question. Why is it that this collection company is contacting me and only allowing me to pay 60% on this debt? You have to ask yourself that very important question. Why am I only being asked, or they're so quick to say, I have 24 hours to pay 60% on this debt, I've even seen 50% on the debt. And the reason why is because they purchased this debt at 10%. Now, you may already know this. They purchased the debt for extremely cheap. And when you're being contacted by a sales rep that's trying to make a commission on that debt. And so even if they're only able to get you to pay 60% back on the debt that you owe, for that sales rep, that's still a win. Because the business of trying to collect on debt is extremely difficult. That's why there's so many horror stories of people being contacted by collection companies and being harassed, because it is hard to try to call somebody. Think about you trying to call somebody every day to get money back. It's extremely difficult. And that's why there's so many negative sides to that industry. Okay. But to go further in detail about the specifics, if you were to take that settlement deal that's offered to you and you were to pay within 24 hours, what's going to happen is within the next reporting cycle, which is typically around 30 business days, that account will update to zero. Initially, this may sound like a good deal for you, but remember, it's all about the data that's tied to these accounts. We get so caught up in the numbers, but if you were to lend money to someone, let's say you were to give someone a $100 loan or $1,000 loan, and they were to give you their credit report, and you were to see that they had 3 collection accounts on their credit report. Now they paid them all off, but they had 3 collection accounts on their credit report. Are you going to lend them any amount of money? The answer is no. So now that we understand this, I'm going to re-ask this question. Does it make sense to pay off a collection account without it being removed off of your credit report? Hopefully the answer for you is no. So the route that we need to take, again, this is a topic that I consistently talk about, is pay for deletion. But the issue with pay for deletion that a lot of people, or error that a lot of people make, is that they jump right into asking for pay for deletion. But there's so many other steps that you need to take first before you just jump right into pay for deletion. So what do I mean? When these collection companies get this information, a lot of times they don't even get it directly from the original creditor. We have to understand that when the process of a collection account, so before it's even a collection account, it's typically first a written off account. So let's say you have a charge off account. You're going to see that it says written off next to that account. That is a tax write-off. It becomes public information. Okay. And this information gets shared. Even if that debt gets sold to a collection company, that first collection company may not be successful. Now they still retain that information, but they'll sell the debt over to another company. And this can keep happening over years. Okay, this can keep happening over years, and all these companies now have your information about your address, your phone number, sometimes even your IDs, the amount of debt that you had, and they probably don't even own the debt. And so, if you're paying a company that doesn't own the debt, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I'm taking the time to really go into detail about this because so many people make this mistake. They pay these companies because they say you have 24 hours to take this 60% deal, or they will reverse engineer it and say you have 24 hours, or we're going to take legal action against you. Well, you have to ask yourself, does this company even own the debt? They haven't even provided you with proof of debt. So what are you afraid of? Okay? You have to do your due diligence. People are skipping steps. They're skipping steps and just trying to go for paper deletion because I get it. It's a buzzword and it sounds easy. It like I'm going to be honest. It does sound nice that you can just call a company and say, "Hey, I want to do paper deletion." You pay for it, and now it's removed off of your credit report. But typically, most collection companies aren't going to operate like that. Some of them are going to even say, "We don't do that. We're going to make sure everything on your credit report is reporting as accurately as possible," which they reserve the right to do so. Usually, when the collection company is doing it, they're doing you a favor in the reality. Because the truth is, you should have never let an account go to collections in the first place. So really, you're to blame. It's your fault as to why this collection account is on your credit report. But anyway, um, the most important thing is that you go through the proper steps. And so the first thing is we need to look at the charge-off account tied to that collection account. So if you were to look at your credit report and you have a collection account on your credit report, that is going to differ from the charge-off account that it originally originated from. So let's say, for example, I have a CIBC credit card. If it became a charge-off account, that balance is supposed to go to zero after it's sold to a collection company because the debt has transferred from Capital One over to the collection company. And a lot of times, what people will see, they'll have the balance on the original account and then they'll have a balance on the collection account. And people will still pay this collection company. And so you have to see this information and you have to start asking yourself questions because, to be honest, and I say this all the time, we only have two credit bureaus and there's 40 million plus Canadians. There are mistakes that are made. Just recently, Equifax has been sending out a bunch of emails. Uh, and in my experience, in my opinion, I feel like there's an issue there. But these companies make mistakes all the time. If you look up Equifax and you look up recent lawsuits, even though a lot of them do happen in the U.S., Equifax Canada, they correlate. They do a lot of the same things. If you do your research, you will see that these companies consistently mishandle information. So when you see something on your credit report that doesn't make sense, you shouldn't just jump on the settlement offer that a collection company is trying to offer you right away. What you should be doing is taking your time reviewing your credit report and finding the truth. So when you're working with a credit repair company, that's exactly what you're doing. That credit repair company is helping you find the truth. Because if a collection company is contacting you, what my company will do at least is we're going to find out if that collection company actually owns the debt. Because if I'm working with a client and that collection company actually owns the debt, I'm going to return to my client and I'm going to say, "Hey, Tom, uh, DCA actually owns the debt. Do you want us to negotiate pay for deletion on your behalf?" Because the client reserves the right to say, "No, I don't want to do pay for deletion." But we're going to strongly advise for them to do so. Okay, so once you figure out that that collection company actually owns the debt, then that's when you want to start negotiating pay for deletion. But it doesn't make sense to negotiate pay for deletion if that company does not own the debt. Okay, so we don't want to just jump on that first offer that we receive because a lot of times it's just a settlement offer and then it doesn't lead to it being removed off of your credit report. And then also, we shouldn't be fearful if they say you have 24 hours to accept this offer. I can't, I don't want to guarantee anything, but I can strongly promise you that a lot of those reps, even after the 24 hours, they will still be extremely happy that you came and tried to pay that settlement. This is just an urgency tactic that's overly abused within the industry, and a lot of people get taken advantage of, sadly. Okay, so if you're currently dealing with a collection company and you need assistance, send us an email. My team will be happy to jump on a call with you, discuss your accounts with you, and talk about what we could possibly do to help you. You can email us info@kennyjohnsonuniversity.com. And until next time, peace.